This is my TestingWorldV3. It's an improved, more automated version of TestingWorldV2. I've made this primarily to help me make nice smooth corners on an ice boat racing track that I'm making on the Kingdom Craft server. But I think there'd be quite a few things that might be quite useful for people for just generally building, if nothing else, the ability to make a thing in this positive X, positive Z section, test it, and then nuke it when you're finished with it. I've put a few of the useful things that I useful here. I've grabbed these from over here, and most of them are stored inside there, so you can load them. Place it, load it. And that's now usable. Out the back here, this is where I set up all the constants, which can be used. So C1 equals 1, C2 equals 2. I've used in a fake username, which is called constant. So that you'll find that in quite a few of the commands out there. All of the remote control stuff I've done using bits to break each function up into individual bits, and then sometimes control multiple functions with a single bit. Again, they're all here, so they're all made. These aren't really needed again after the board's been set up. And then they get set out the back here just to set them 0, so they've got a value on them. Any temporary scoreboards needed for calculations, I've made a stack of them here, so they're all again set up with zeros written to them, ready to go to be used in calculations. This sets the global line end. 143 is where this chunk of the test area finishes. And so that's where the border lines and marker lines terminate. That's the replica of what's over the front there, and is where you enter the size of your radius of your circle. P 29. That's the width, but whatever. It's 7 at the moment. Yeah, done. Basically, if you use to set up the world, it's just makes 4 ticking areas, so 1, 0. These here are erase where you look, basically just replaces the chunk in front of where you're looking with air when you're holding this particular tool, which I'll show in a second. And human eraser does the same thing, but it's centered around you. So a 9 by 9 by 9 goes 4 in front, 4 behind, 4 left, 4 right. I think off your feet, I can't remember. This function, when turned on, you're holding that item, places grass down and a chunk. 5 in all directions of you. It's good for wiping out the lines and bits and pieces. This one's just the big version, which is 32 in all directions, I think. This one places a single block below you when you're holding that raw iron. This does the same thing when you're holding that spawn egg, but with obsidian, and this makes a nice track. Okay, those are quick. Demo. We'll do the grass ones last. I'll put this in my hand. Run around. We get that. But it's also handy when you're doing a build and you want to be up in the air. Flip it on, flip it off, and you've got a single block to then work off. Don't have to fill it up. That's pretty handy. This will do the same thing, just do with obsidian. a good idea to take them over your hands when you're not using them, because they can accidentally make quite a mess. The grass one will do the same thing, but it's a larger area. It's also good for clearing this area if you want to wipe something out. Go over a bit further so it makes it a mess. The tall grass, that's the big one. Again, if this is in your hand, it can get quite messy quite quickly. So I do all my testing over here so that when I'm finished, wander over here and hit this. That runs all of these, which clears chunks. Each one of these boxes 16 by 16 and runs from negative 60, which is where your feet are, up to positive 60, I believe, or 63. Let's get material. Yeah. Shovels, the smallest one, will create a 3x3 at your feet, so it's quite good for not breaking stuff below you. And they get bigger and bigger as you go. Oops, so from the right down to wood, which makes a big hole. Picks too much the same thing, but they do it where you're looking. So this is a lot finer. GPU's struggling a little bit. Pick it out, like the gold one. And now it's quite a bit cold. Good idea to take those out of your hand when you're finished. And then we can clear that whole area, which will just clear that. Or if we go to the auto clean, that will replace our grass, our dirt, our bedrock, and run to clear the chest area. At the moment, we've got a big hole. So only works inside here up to 143. So we either individually replace the bedrock, bit 4, sorry, bit 3, replace the dirt, and make those up to that level, replace the grass, and clear the area. 4. We can hit a reclaim, and then we just once you got rid of those lines, so down here, bit 19, all borders and markers. My bad. And circle. Probably fucking 4, all borders and markers. Hold on. Bit 19, all borders and markers. We'll run those guys out. We'll replace the grass here. Down my dudes. No, that has the vintage one as well. I found that kind of handy when making the circles. go to see where the 45 came through. If I want to reset a circle, like this guy, I'll go to dudes. Get wide radius to try and build off. All the lines are individually here and they've all got their own resets. So if I wanted to just run the positive Z line marker, if I want to stop them, I reset. Otherwise it'll run its course and reset itself at the end of it. It'll go out to 143 and then terminate. Yeah, so they're all individually broken down here. These are all different chunk lines, so you can run lines up the X. This will be X1, X36 and over, and so on and so on. But mainly, they're all doing that, there's nothing there, but if I had a large structure I was messing around with, it's the opposite of what I wanted to do. If we're doing a big test, I load in something that I've ever play with, like a gold farm from S10. My testing version, which is covered in markers and looks fantastic. Once you finish playing with this and messing about with it, you can come over here, and this is probably where our auto clean will be good. And auto clean again gets rid of those water blocks. And I do need to add a function to /kill at E for entities. Probably chuck in there somewhere. That would be bit 31. Yeah, this reset, I think I'm also going to extend that to a bigger tower, so it'll reset all bits below 32, and that's already going to reset itself, which it does there. Yeah, I hope that's useful for people to play with. The world download I'm going to have in a OneDrive file, so you should better download that. I'll try and include the structures that are all here, so you can pull those into your own world. I've tried to make them self-contained, so you don't necessarily have to be in this world to run, say, this one. This is set up so it's got its own ticking areas. It'll create a ticking area around itself, which means you can place it wherever self-ticking area didn't go a long way away, and that command block still loaded and continues to function. Yeah, so that is where I've got up to so far. It's been kind of handy, especially for the ice track, where I've been able to find a bit of terrain that I want to transition to another piece of terrain, and then work out that I say need a radius of about, let's say 25. Come in here, I've already got my 7 set, which is the thickness I've been making the tracks, so I don't have to worry about that. Reset the previous one, make a new one, and let the dudes do the work. If everything goes wrong, I've included a preloaded structure block which has got all of these, and then so if you accidentally break something, they're all there, and that same preloaded block with data is there for that chunk, and these ones are broken into 3 for this one, that one, and that one, so they load all of this area. So when you accidentally bring out a pick and break all the things, which I've done more times than I can count now, you can just reload them back in again, rather than reloading the entire world. Right, I've just added in global reset to reset all the bits, so next to what was the last bit to reset, this is resetting all of them, so no delay, straight up, all the way through to there, 15 tick delay to reset bit 0, which allows this to put the redstone back in, which also means you can do it remotely. Yeah, that will be good, that's saved in there. So if you do end up with a scenario and it relies on something like this happening where this accidentally says needs redstone, and you set this, it will then never reset itself because this redstone's in, which is a bit of an annoyance the way I've set them up, but also mean I can make them all pretty much the same. And it also means you can just remotely write bit 20 to 1. This detects that, puts the redstone in, which then triggers this to operate. So I think even if I change this now back to what is active, that won't reset itself because this is already true. So this is already operated, it needs this to be not redstone before it then becomes redstone again. The fix for that is now, where previously I would have hit this, that wouldn't have worked. But this one here should let it work, although I'm now proving myself wrong because it relies on that pulse to happen. And that's not really, you still need to put something else in there first. Let's reset that. It allows it to operate, but we have to break that block first. The only fix for that would be which I had, but I wanted to try and cut down on the repeating blocks. There'd be another repeating one below this, which replace those blocks. But I was reluctant, there are too many repeating blocks across the world. That's what I've got at the moment. Gigantic, ridiculous tower. This essentially is now working in with this, so when I hit this one, that one's going to operate. So this could be, this one here can be placed anywhere to be used to trigger this one remotely. Alright, I've just added this as well, so now drop something, don't want it, hit that, or enemies get killed. That includes yourself if you're not creative.